Citizens of Gotham, before we get started with our episode, let's take a moment to recognize our partner sponsor, Organic Priced Books. Now, if you're listening to this, I'd be willing to bet you enjoy comic books. If you do, much like myself, you probably love seeing your favorite runs and stories collected in an edition that you can proudly put on your shelf. These collected editions are wonderful to read and display, but man can they be pricey. This is where Organic Priced Books comes in. Organic Priced Books is a small, family-owned business dedicated to getting you those collected editions of comics that you love at great prices. They have an expansive online store where you can browse, pre-order, and purchase from their in-stock items. Not only do they carry the major companies, such as DC and Marvel, but they also carry other brands such as IDW, Boom Studios, Image, Dark Horse, and more. They also package these books with amazing care, so they show up to your door in pristine condition. So head down to the link in the description of this episode and visit Organic Priced Books today. Also in that description, you'll find our promo codes. The first is TFRbatpod to get you $2 off of any order, and the second, TFRbatpod Ship It Together, to save you 5% off of any order of 3 or more books. Check out all the offerings that Organic Priced Books has, save money, and support TFR as you do so. Thanks to Organic Priced Books for supporting us. Now let's get on with the episode. Welcome, citizens of Gotham, to the 100th episode of The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast focusing on all things The Dark Knight and the DC Universe. If you'd like to connect with the show, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and now Blue Sky. Just search TFR Batpod and you will find us on all of our socials. If you have thoughts, questions, comments, or even suggestions for future episodes of the show, you can shoot us an email. Just send those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. Now, my name is Eric Carter, and I am your host, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe Fornerado. Joe, happy 100 episodes, buddy.
Happy 100, Eric. Glad to be back.
Yeah, man. Can you believe we're at 100 of these?
It is pretty crazy how quick it went. What's it been? 3 years, right?
4.
4, geez. Okay. Yeah, it went quicker than I expected, that's for sure. But it's been a fun ride.
Yeah. And I know, some people look at that. 4 years, only 100 episodes. We do not do this every week. So
yeah.
That's the thing to remember.
Yeah, we're lucky we got there with our with the way we've been lately. That's for sure.
Yes. But we are here. We're at the 100. I wanted to do something special for the 100th episode. If you listened to the last episode, you know that Joe and I had discussed it, and we realized that we had never ranked the live action Batman movies. So that is what we're going to do today. We had a lot of participation from the listeners. So I have tallied up, and I've got the movies rated so far as listener votes. And we're going to talk about that at the end. We have a few recordings that have been sent to us. We're going to check in throughout the episode and listen to some of those. We thank you guys so much for those who have sent those in. You know who you are. You guys will find out later. But before we get into our rankings of the films, unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a somber note to touch on to kick off our 100th episode. Joe, since the last time we've recorded, unfortunately, we have lost a Batman. Val Kilmer passed away on April Was it the first or the second, Joe? I want to say we found out on the second. I think he passed away April 1st.
Yeah, I think he passed away real late April 1st because I think we woke up to the news on April 2nd.
Yes. Very, very sad news. Val had struggles with throat cancer in the past several years, and he had beaten throat cancer. And unfortunately, he did lose a battle with pneumonia. He did have some throat issues with a tracheotomy, and anytime you have that kind of surgical, implement with your throat, you are pretty susceptible to sickness. So it's very sad that we've lost Val, and that his family's lost him. It really sucks. As you guys know, I mean, Val Kilmer was my first Batman, and he was my Batman throughout my childhood. As much as I did really like Michael Keaton and not so much George Clooney, but I've forgiven him over time. Um, but up until we got the more modern movies, Val Kilmer was my Batman, and he, as a kid who had just lost his dad, Val Kilmer's Batman kind of gave me the character that I love to this day, and this is the reason that I'm talking about Batman on a podcast, Joe. So it might be silly to some that about a celebrity, but this one hit me because I did have a lot of sentimental attachment and do have a lot of a sentimental attachment to Batman Forever and to Val Kilmer as Batman. So I'm really bummed that we've lost him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's sad for his family and for everyone that he's touched. I mean, he was only what, mid 60s, if I remember right.
65.
Yeah. So, Batman aside, I feel like that's just too young for anyone to go. I mean, we've lost plenty of celebrities where I've actually discussed with you how I tend to have almost a disconnect when a celebrity passes away because I tend to just um not that I don't sympathize. I I almost prioritize my feelings and I
Yeah.
kind of like I don't I tend to just not think about it too much because these people aren't in my everyday life, as far as human beings, not as like obviously as actors. I probably know some of these people as actors more than I even know people I know in real life. But it's a very hard thing for me to, I guess, relate when people do get very upset or very emotional when someone that they've never met has passed away. But in this case, it's hard to deny the impact he's had on all of our lives as Batman fans or just as movie fans in general. You are a big fan of Val Kilmer even outside of Batman. With his other
Yes.
films, I would say a lot more than I am. I am not that familiar with his other work other than, his few really big movies, obviously. And you sent me a clip recently about like Top Gun Maverick and that whole thing with the impact he had on the actors in that movie, which was really cool to see. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a tough time, uh, you know, to lose anyone connected to Batman. But I will let you kind of take this forward and share some of your thoughts because I think it definitely it means more to you.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, outside of just my love of Batman Forever and the nostalgia that I hold for it, and we're gonna talk about it when we get into the rankings. It's not a perfect Batman movie, far from it, but it does have a lot of sentimental value for me because of what I was going through at the time that movie came out as a kid. But as you said, even outside of Batman, I mean, Val Kilmer throughout my formative years was in a lot of stuff that I
Hmm.
really gravitated towards. I mean, he was the first actor that I realized was an actor, if that makes sense, because I knew
Yeah, like
him
a
as Batman.
first guy that you noticed playing in other movies, right? Like, yeah.
Right. Because a couple of years after Batman Forever, and I may have been too young to be watching this movie looking back now, but Tombstone, I discovered
Hmm.
Tombstone, which is, bar none, one of my favorite movies of all time. I
Hmm.
adore that movie. And Val Kilmer that just shocked me. I'm like, what? That's Batman. And that was like a learning curve of learning what actors do and who they are. But him as Doc Holliday is cinematic perfection to me. He's fantastic in that role. And as you said, I mean, Top Gun. Who didn't grow up watching Top Gun? Most people did. And him as Iceman, and he's wonderful in Heat, which I know you really like Heat.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, just so many great roles that Val Kilmer had, and he's really going to be missed. And I thought it would be, I thought we would be remiss not to at least give him a little bit of time here at the top of our episode. I in our group chat the other day, I said we've really got to stop having anniversary episodes because I was looking back and episode 50, we completely changed our plans for our 50th episode because we lost Kevin Conroy
Hmm.
right before we recorded that episode. So, Joe, we got to go from 149 to 151. We're just not going to
Yeah,
call.
we're gonna skip over it,
Yeah.
not acknowledge it at all.
Yeah. But yeah, all of our thoughts and all the good vibes that we can send towards Val's family. You're going to be missed, Val. But Joe, let's lighten the mood a little bit and let's get into our ranking. Are you ready to rank some Batman movies?
Let's do it.
All right, so here we go. Ranking the live action Batman movies from Batman 1966 to the Batman in 2022. Here we go. All right, so we are going to start at the bottom of our list with our number 12s. And I do just want to post a disclaimer. No matter where, and this is for me, Joe, you can tell me if you agree or not. No matter where these films fall on the list, it's not a detriment to a film, where it's placed, really, because the majority of these I like to borderline love. So I just want to get that out of the way. And none of these films are ones that I can't watch. So just to make that clear.
No, I agree. Any of these movies, if anyone was like, "Hey, let's watch this right now," there's not one where I'd be like, "Oh, really?" I would literally put any one of these on right now and watch it.
Yep, agreed. So with that being said, we are going to go from 12 all the way to number 1. We're going to go round robin back and forth, and in between at certain spots, we are going to stop to listen to some messages that were sent in to us. So let's get started, Joe. What is the number 12 movie on your list?
So number 12 on my list, with a caveat in saying that I don't think it's the worst movie on the list. Um, but I have to have the theatrical cut of Justice League as number 12, just because if I'm gonna watch one of the cuts, it's gonna be the Zack Snyder cut. So I have that at 12 just for that reason, not because I do think it's a worse film than some of the films higher than it. For me, I just put it at the bottom, almost as like a space filler.
Mm,
Like like I prioritize one or the other. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom just for that reason.
yeah, and count me in because my number 12 is also the theatrical 2017 cut of Justice League. And again, as you said, I mean it's a movie that I can still watch to this day. I don't have a distinct burning hatred for this movie or
Hmm.
anything, but given
Ironically, it's easier for me to watch it now because we have the Snyder
Zack
cut.
Snyder's just yeah. It's one of those where if given the time, I'm definitely gonna watch Zack Snyder's Justice League over it.
Hmm.
Um, but that's one of the great things about this movie is you can watch it in a much shorter period of time. So if you're
Yes.
just looking for a little bit of Justice League fun, it's there.
Yeah, for me,
Um,
it's a good one to put on in the background, like if the kids are around or they're playing, and I just want to put some fun superhero stuff in the background to see if it catches their eye. That it's a good one for that.
I will give it this. It's a lot more accessible for kids
Yeah, definitely.
than the Snyder cut. Okay, so that brings us to number 11. So back to you, Joe. What's your number 11?
So my number 11 is it's not gonna be a surprise to anyone, but it is Batman and Robin. Um,
Okay.
and again, I have grown. I think over the years, I've actually grown to appreciate or dare I say, like it more than maybe the film above it for me, and we'll talk about that in a second. Um, but I don't hate this movie. I don't think I've ever hated it like anyone else did,
Mm,
or like most people did, I should say. It's just like as a kid, I didn't know it was this hated movie. But now I get, the cheesy, the cheese factor and all that, but I still really don't hate it. I don't I think there's a lot of fun moments in it. Is it a good movie? Probably not, but I think it knew what it was doing, whether it succeeded or not, or whether it resonated with people. Obviously, it didn't, but
right.
I still think it's serviceable. If that's the best thing I could say about it, I'm good with it. Like it's to me, I could put it on and still have fun with it. And I think because of all the great Batman movies that followed it, it's hard to be mad about it anymore. And like I said,
Sure.
I never was, but I'm talking um generally, I guess.
Nice. Well, we have gotten to a deviation quickly, Joe. Um, because this one might be the first one that's going to surprise you. But my number 11 is
It's not going to
Batman.
surprise me.
It's Batman the movie from
Yeah,
1966.
I knew that's where you were going.
Um, I do not dislike this movie, but given the choice of the movies that are ahead of it, I will pick every single one of
Hmm.
those to watch before I watch this one. It's a product of when I grew up. I didn't know this was a thing until much later. And when I
Hmm.
did realize it was a thing, I was of an age where it was not cool whatsoever. Um, going
It's
back,
amazing what a few years in age difference between me and you does.
yes, yes, absolutely. Going back to it now, I can find a lot of fun and enjoyment out of the series and out of this movie, but it is far from my preferred version of Batman. So I mean, and for that simple reason alone, that's why it ends up where it's at because I would just the movies ahead of it I would choose much quicker to watch than I would this one. But all the respect in the world for Adam West and Burt Ward and Burgess Meredith and all those wonderful actors because I mean
Hmm.
it's a fun movie, but just unfortunately not one of my favorites. But let's move on, Joe. So number 10, what is your 10 slot Batman movie?
And my 10 maybe will surprise you, but my 10 is Batman Forever.
Okay.
Um, I mean, to me, I think Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, for my tastes, are pretty neck and neck. Do I think Batman Forever does more things right than Batman and Robin, like in an itemized form? Yes. I don't think it's as consistent though as Batman and Robin. You could say it's not as consistently bad as Batman and Robin, but I
Right.
think I think the good parts of Batman Forever are better than the good parts of Batman and Robin, but I think the bad parts annoy me way more now because it's frustrating of watching that movie thinking what they could have done with that movie where Batman and Robin is just what it is. So, and I and don't get me wrong, I loved this movie when it came out. It wasn't my Batman growing up, but
Hmm.
when this movie came out, it was like, oh, this is the Batman movie I wanted. We got Robin in it. It was everything I wanted in a Batman movie as a kid.
Hmm.
So that's where it's hard as an adult. I just think it really missed the mark on a lot of interpretations. So that's why I have it so low. And I think I'm more frustrated now watching it than I ever was when I was a kid, and I just appreciated it for what it was. So I actually can watch Batman and Robin and enjoy it more than Batman Forever. But I put Batman Forever above it because I do think it is a better movie.
Gotcha. And just clearly, I'm not ready to talk about Batman Forever
Yeah.
yet. So, but since we're
And
already
we
in this, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and we've already talked about Val a little bit. And listen, I like Val Kilmer as Batman. I don't think it's my favorite interpretation. Um, I didn't even really talk much about George Clooney when I talked about Batman and Robin. I actually don't hate George Clooney's interpretation of Batman. I mean, is it because he's not really changing his shtick between one to the other? Okay, maybe it's kind of whatever. But I don't
Well,
mind his portrayal of Batman and Bruce Wayne.
well, Joe, we can continue rolling with Schumacher because my number 10 is Batman and Robin. So yours is Forever, mine's Batman and Robin. And the funny thing about this is, Joe, for the longest time, if you'd have told me that this movie would be anywhere but dead last, I would have called you a liar because I hated this movie for so long. But and you didn't really get a chance to talk about Clooney much when you were talking about Batman and Robin, but I just think he's George Clooney the entire movie.
Mhm.
There's no really delineation between him and Batman. There's no inner struggle, and I don't know. It always just kind of rubbed me wrong that he said in multiple interviews, "I'm just tired of Batman being sad all the time. Oh, my parents, that kind of thing." He just played it like George Clooney, and that I mean, for me, that's why the movie falls where it does. But in the last several years, I have kind of loosened up a little bit, and the movie's horrible, but it's fun horrible, and I
Yeah.
can I can watch it here and there and have fun with it.
Ironically, like you just said that about Clooney, not to criticize Kilmer too much because I said like he wasn't really my Batman. I would almost argue that Kilmer's kind of the same Batman and Bruce Wayne also, just he's the depressed, sad Batman, both sad Batman and sad Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? So there's not that much of a differential there or differentiating there, but it's more present, I guess, than Clooney.
And I have some thoughts on that. We'll talk about when we
Yeah.
get to it on my ranking. But yeah, for those reasons, Batman and Robin is my number 10. But Joe, let's move forward to our number 9. So what do you have at number 9?
Do you want to switch it up and do you want to go first this time?
I can absolutely, yeah, I
All
can
right.
do that. Which may surprise you on this one. And my number 9 is The Dark Knight Rises, and nothing really to do with the quality of this film because I will tell you right up front, from 9 to 1, I love all these movies. It was really hard to rank a lot of these films because we're in the territory now where I can put these movies on anytime
Mhm.
and love and enjoy all of them. But The Dark Knight Rises, if you if you put the Dark Knight trilogy all together, for me, as I do love this movie, but it's the weakest link of the three.
Mhm.
And for me, I mean, if I'm choosing a Batman movie and I have, some of the classics, and if I feel like mixing it up and watching a Nolan film, this is going to be one of the last ones I pick, because I just have so much love for the other two, that it's kind of that makes this one land where it is on my list. If I'm watching Nolan, generally it's going to be the other two. So that's why this one lands where it does.
It's fine to be wrong. It's okay. But no, I see where you're coming from. I just don't agree. I am not ready to talk about that one at all, and I'm disappointed that I made you go first. So
Hey, you wanted it.
I know. I was not expecting that. I definitely was not. But that's okay. I'm glad that because a lot of the times I think we see two eye to eye, so this is probably good that our lists are going to be pretty different.
Yes.
Um, my number nine is Batman the movie from 1966. So,
Okay.
and I'm with you. Like I, it's not that I like unabashedly love this movie. It is number nine. I think it's a better quality movie for what it's doing than the lower parts of my list. I did grow up with this movie. So this was my Batman for years. And even when I saw Batman 89 for the first time, I continued to love this movie because I was three. So, or four. I think I
Sure.
was four when I saw Batman 89. So again, I don't even know if I was three. I might have been three or four. Anyway, when I saw Batman 89. So we had Batman 66 in syndication. But other than my dad's homemade videotapes of Batman 66, this was the movie that we had on official VHS. So I watched this constantly. It
Mm.
was on all the time. And I grew up with Adam West as my Batman. For the very young parts of my life. And, prior to me falling in love with Batman 89 and getting that at VHS, and really just maybe having a different take on Batman from a younger age, but this was what I watched live action Batman for a long time. And I do love this movie. I mean, yes, it's campy, of course it is. And I think as an adult, you get so much more of the humor, which is just makes it so much more special, I think. But yeah, it's not a movie that I watch a lot. It's really not. But I do have to have it above Forever and Batman and Robin just because I think it does what it's doing better, whether it's my cup of tea or not. And I think it just has a place in Batman lore to be doing that. It was around for so long where this was so important to Batman that I do have a special place in my heart for this movie.
You know what's so fascinating and funny about this is you were talking about, a separation of a few years
Oh yeah.
and this particular version of Batman. It's like there's camps depending on your age.
Hmm.
If you're of a certain age and you're looking for campy Batman, it's 66. If you're a few years younger, it's Schumacher.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, and I know some people get mad at this, but they are so similar. Of course, one set has the little bit of more cutting 90s edge to them,
Hmm.
but they're so similar in
And
what they're
but
doing.
ironically, as a kid, I didn't think they were.
I
I
know.
thought Batman Forever and Batman and Robin were serious as hell. And I don't even know if I thought Batman 66 was campy when I was a kid. That's a pretty common thing for little kids. They thought Batman 66 was dead serious. But then as I got older and saw the Schumacher films, I thought, wow, this is serious.
Yeah.
And it's very different when you're growing up with this stuff from certain ages. But yeah, yeah, definitely interesting because just being 3 years apart makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that brings us to number 8. Do you want me to go first this time or do you want to go,
Yeah,
Jeff?
you can go first this time.
Okay. So falling in the number 8 slot, and this is where Andy DeGenova stops listening to the podcasts. My number 8 is Batman Returns. Still a movie that I adore. And it's the same method I used with The Dark Knight Rises. Out of the two Keaton Burton films, if I'm in the mood to watch a movie from that era, it's going to be 89, unless it's Christmas time. And then I want some returns. But I love all the weirdness about it, but I think the weirdness is what puts the separation there. It makes it a little less accessible. I don't think to the extreme that the little kid that everybody's seen the video of saying that it's an assault on children or anything like that. But yeah, it's just a weird, fun Batman movie with the horniest villains you've ever seen in your life. But yeah, it's nothing to do with the quality of the film, just a little bit of taste in here is why it comes in at number 8 for me.
Yeah, I'm not quite ready to talk about that one yet, but like you said, Andy's gonna, turn off the podcast. I'll have him turning it back on with my number eight.
Okay.
and you might be leaving with my number eight. So
Okay.
my number eight is the Batman.
Okay.
So here's the thing with this movie. Me and you have talked a lot about this movie since it came out, and I had it pretty high when we saw it first. I still think it's a really good movie. But
Sure.
as far as Batman movies go, I don't think it differentiates itself enough from the ones that I love to have me choose it over any of the other ones. And I think that's the thing that keeps me from really loving this movie is the fact that it didn't give me enough new or different where even if I think it might be a better movie if there were no other Batman movies, which is hard to say, but like it might be a better made movie than some of the movies I have higher than it, but it doesn't mean I think it did enough to make itself enjoyable for me.
Mm,
So again, I'm looking forward to when if we ever get the sequel because I want to see where this story goes, and I hope that it does bring more to the table because I think the performances and the filmmaking were really, really good. I just want more out of it. In like every aspect, I just wanted a little bit more. So, and again, it's not just like I will throw this movie on and I feel like every time I watch it, I'm into it and I enjoy it. But it's a hard movie for me to say I want to watch that movie, if that makes
sure.
sense. Like once it's on, I'm good. But when I pick it up and I'm like, nah, it's just not the night to watch that. So
Sure.
it's a very weird relationship I have with that movie because I don't fault anyone for loving it, but I also don't fault anyone for hating it. I get both sides of that story really well, or so that's where I'm at with that one. I know you're probably not going to talk about that one for a while, but that's okay. And it is what it is with that one. I got really nothing more to say with that one other than I hope that the sequel makes me like the first one better.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about that one yet, but I will say I don't think anything that you're saying is unfair. And I'll leave it at that until we get circle back to it.
Okay.
But that does bring us to our number sevens, and I'll just keep on with the going first on this one because we've already talked a good bit about it. Number seven for me is Batman Forever. The reason that it lands above Batman Returns and The Dark Knight Rises for me has nothing to do with the quality of the filmmaking. Batman Returns and The Dark Knight Rises are vastly better movies than Batman Forever is. It falls in this slot purely because this is the movie that introduced me to Batman.
Hmm.
It's got a ton of sentimental value. And because through all the campiness and the over the top performances by Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones, where one of them should not have been as over the top, there is a lot going on that's a little deeper in this movie than I think people give it credit for, and a lot of that I think is to do with what's cut out of the movie, which I know nobody can really judge because nobody gets to see what's not there. But I really enjoy Val Kilmer's performance. There's a reason that became so fascinated with him as the Dark Knight at that age. And why I'm still drawn to it to this day. I just watched that movie yesterday, and I think there's a lot in the performance of Val Kilmer that makes me love this movie. The weird part about it is, and I will give everyone this, he is in a completely different movie than the villains are.
Hmm.
He's in a dark, serious Batman movie, and nobody else is. And I fully understand that, and I agree with everybody who takes shots at this movie. I get what you're saying, but it carries so much sentimental weight for me that it's always going to be just a tad high on the list that than probably some people think it should be.
No, I completely get that. And like I said, even when I was a kid, this was the Batman movie I was waiting for when it came out. It's
Yeah.
just over time I've seen the problems with the movie, and
Yeah.
I what you just brought up, I mean, that is my biggest issue with it is, and not even the Riddler. I have no issue with the Riddler in this movie. It is I have a really hard time with Two-Face in this.
Well, that the only thing I'm saying is yes, that both of them were over the top, and I'm not taking a shot at Jim Carrey there because it's okay that he
Yeah,
is, but one of them should not have been.
yes. It would have gone a
Um,
long way for one of them to be the straight man.
yeah, yeah, you don't have a straight man.
No pun
Um,
intended.
but I don't know. Every time I watch this movie, I'm back to 1995
Yeah,
and the kid that fell in love with Batman. So I can't hate that.
nor should you.
Um,
It's fine. It's a Batman movie.
yeah, exactly. But what's your number seven, Joe?
My number seven is a movie that it would have been almost dead last when I was a kid. Is Batman
Oh,
Returns.
oh,
And I hated this movie when I was a kid.
really? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Oh, I hated this movie when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Um, I always loved the style of the movie and the look of the movie. I always loved the Batsuit. Always loved the way it looked. Always loved the design of it. It was always my favorite Batsuit. But I always hated the movie. It was just too weird. I was what, 6 or 7 when this came out. Yeah, I was 7 when this came out. So it was not a good age to like have this weird, creepy, gory, gooey, whatever the hell it was. But as I got older and watched this I don't remember when this became a Christmas movie in my head. Like I don't like we always knew it took place at Christmas, but I don't remember when I actually started watching it every year at Christmas. But the more I watched it and the more I just fell in love with it at Christmas time every year, I've learned to really appreciate this as a movie. And
Hmm.
is it a great quote unquote Batman movie? Yeah, probably not. But let's be honest, most of these filmmakers are taking liberties.
Hmm.
So I don't want to kill Burton for taking liberties, especially when, you know, it's not like these characters are unrecognizable. And like the argument of he took an really a very boring character in the Penguin and turned him into something completely different to make him interesting. I kind of agree with that. You know, is he not he's not the comics counterpart, but he's fine. I don't have an issue with what he did with him, and I think Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is great. But as a kid, they just weren't for me. But now, obviously, I have the Nolan films higher because I have such an affinity for those movies. Um, but I still do really like this one. And yeah, as a kid, I probably had it below Batman and Robin. So it's nice
Interesting.
that, as an adult, I can appreciate the wackiness of this movie. Whether you want to call it the seriousness or not, I don't know if that's even accurate, but it's like a wacky seriousness, but I appreciate it a lot as an adult.
You know what's fascinating about those four movies is the second of both of those directors' films
Hmm.
when depending on who you talk to went off the rails,
Oh yeah.
and it was because the directors did exactly what Warner Brothers told them to do.
Yeah, they said make your movie. Yeah.
Well, no, not quite. That was
No.
Tim Burton's. Tim Burton was told make whatever you want, make a
Yeah.
Tim Burton movie.
Oh,
Joel
and then yeah,
Schumacher was directed
make a
make a toy
cartoon.
commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did exactly what they were told to do.
Yep.
So, um,
And where the Burton one is kind of divisive, definitely leans more towards positive, but there
yes.
are still a lot of people that hate Batman Returns as
Hmm.
Batman fans. The number is definitely smaller than Batman and Robin. Um,
It's
but
aged a lot better than Batman and Robin has.
I feel like the people like it's weird how passionate people are though when they hate one of those movies.
Yeah. Which even Batman and Robin nowadays, I
Yeah,
feel
like
like it's getting so much more love than it used to.
yeah, now
Whether
it's
I
almost getting the ironic love where it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's just really good. You guys are just missing it.
but people buy Batman and Robin toys
Yeah,
and all kinds of stuff now. So
yeah.
it's weird. But that tangent aside, that's our number sevens. So Joe, I'm going to flip it back to you for your number six.
So this is really hard for me to put at number 6 but I really just don't know where to put this on the list because it's Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Okay,
Now,
well, we can talk about it together because my number 6 is also Zack Snyder's
awesome.
Justice
And I,
League.
I think you're kind of with me then there where I don't think this is the sixth best movie on this list. But because we're ranking Batman movies,
Mhm.
it has to like go down a couple of spots because it's not just a Batman movie.
It's an ensemble.
But I will let you take over. You had a very good answer when we were discussing this movie as to why you felt it should be on the list. Because I was actually kind of fighting against even putting it on the list. Do you remember what you said to me?
Well, Batman is he's the main character. He's the driving
Yes.
focus because the whole movie is around him putting together the Justice League.
Yeah.
I mean, he is so pivotal to the story of the movie that at times it almost is a Batman movie because it's
Yeah.
Batman and his struggle to right the wrong from what he feels he did in BVS and build the Justice League. So it
And
is
yeah.
so central on him.
And ironically, it's a 4 hour movie. You're getting more Batman time in an
Yeah.
ensemble than you
Hmm.
are in most of the other Batman movies on this list.
And
So,
to go back to the theatrical cut, you can say the same thing about that movie. That it's about Batman putting together the Justice League,
oh yeah.
but Batman's a lot more insufferable in that one.
Yeah, not quite the serious arc in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Um
I, I love this movie. There's it pains me to put it at number six, but I still do, hang my hat on that where I think if I'm making a Batman list, it's not a crime to put a Justice League movie at number six. I think the movies I have higher up on the list make sense.
yeah, and I think for both of us this movie, if this was just a generic ranking of superhero movies list,
Yeah.
probably would be higher.
Yep. Agree.
But just Batman focused, it does take a few notches down because it
Mhm.
is. I mean, it's a JL movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we
That
have
was an easy one.
gone. Yeah, it was. We were on the same page. We haven't been on the same page since number 12. So 12 and 6
Mhm.
we were matching.
There you go.
All right. Well, we have gone through numbers 12 through 6. So let's take a quick break and hear from a couple of our really good friends. We did get some messages from our guys at Holy Backcast, Brendan Lowe and Jamie Drewley.
Hey, Eric and Joe, my pals at the Fire Rises TM. It's Brendan here from Holy Backcast. Just wanting to congratulate you guys on reaching 100 episodes. It's a pretty good milestone. Not one that the Nightlight quite got to it. It tapped out at 99, so you've got me beat there. But no, in all seriousness, congratulations. And let's hope for 100 more pretty soon. And, I can't imagine having a vendetta against another podcast and wanting to crush and destroy them as much as I do you guys. Cheers.
Hey, Eric and Joe. Happy 100 episodes. Wow, guys, what an accomplishment. The fact that you two did it without killing each other is probably as impressive as the fact that you got to 100 episodes to begin with. It's a great accomplishment. Super proud of you guys. Fan of the show. Love what you do over there. Ranking the 12 Batman films. Gosh, how do I do that? Oh, yeah, I go to Letterboxd and use the list I already made. So I am going to give you my top 12 Batman films in live action. I won't go into super detail because I've done this before, but number 12, Batman and Robin. So far, it's the only Batman movie I hope I never have to watch again. Andy makes me do it every 5 years for some reason because he's terrible. Number 11, Batman Forever. I did that just to spite Brendan. Number 10, the theatrical Justice League. I still like that movie. I think it's entertaining enough. Number 9 is The Batman. I think there's great parts of that movie, but overall it's not quite my taste and where I wanted it to be. Number 8 is Batman 1966. Kind of grew up watching that one and, the show itself. So got a sentimental soft spot for that one. Number 7, Batman Returns. I hate even having it that low, but the fact is from here on out, I pretty much just love all of these movies. So That's a great one for Christmas for anybody that needs that holiday boost for Cheerathon. Number 6 is The Dark Knight Rises. Flaws and all, I still think it's a fantastic movie and I still love it. Number 5, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. I don't separate the theatrical from the director's version or the ultimate cut, as you will. I think both versions are really good. Obviously, the ultimate cut gives you a little more detail, so probably my preferred version, but still a great movie overall. Still love it. Number 4, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, what more needs to be said about that movie? At 4 hours in runtime, and it wasn't boring or unentertaining in any way, shape, or form. Number 3, Batman 1989. Quite possibly, well, actually not even possibly. It's definitely my best sentimental Batman movie because I saw it as many times as I did. And, you know, Batmania was alive and well and kicking in 1989. And this movie was the peak of cinema at that point. Number 2, Batman Begins. It's tough to even put this one at number 2, but it's a great Batman movie, a great story, great cast, great everything, production values, all of it. And number 1, With a Bullet, not only my favorite Batman movie, but my very favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight. So there it is. That's my top 12 Batman movies. Once again, guys, congratulations. Super impressive that you got to the 100 episodes. It's a wonderful accomplishment. You guys deserve all the praise for keeping it going this long. It's not an easy trick, you know, the scheduling and everything with podcasts. You know, us over at Holy Batcast and the Real Fans Podcast Network, we have more than our fair share of scheduling difficulties. So knowing how much it takes to put the effort into doing these shows is getting to 100 episodes, not an easy task. If you guys are open to a little constructive criticism, though, I would say the one thing that you could stand to do, more fan casts. You guys really need to do more fan casts on your shows because that's what audiences really want. So, you know, if you could throw some fan casts in, you know, one every other episode or so, that would be awesome. But hey, congratulations, Joe and Eric. Awesome. Fire Rises, 100 episodes. Keep it going, guys. See you on the next 100.
All right. A huge thank you to Brendan and Jamie. Guys, we really appreciate you taking the time to record those messages and send them to us. Very kind words. And Joe, what do you think? More fan casting on TFR?
I mean, more would just be like one because we
Would
don't
be
do that.
one, yeah.
So that's, I mean, you can take it if you want it. I'll just sit here and listen and roll my eyes. That's fine.
Let me tell you, when Jamie sent that to me, I immediately messaged him back and said, I love the shot at Joe for the fan casting. And his response to me, paraphrased, was, hey, I've been dealing with bat hangers for nearly 10 years. Joe can take one for the team.
That's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it, Jamie.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get back to our ranking, and we are in the top 5. So, Joe, do you want to go first, or do you want me to kick it off with our number 5?
All right, I'll do 5. You already talked about my 5. So
Okay.
I will start with The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Um, I love this movie. I'm not ashamed that I have it this high. I know it gets crapped on a lot. I think people are a little bit harsh on it because it is the third of the trilogy and it did do some things differently that maybe people weren't crazy about. I know everyone harps on poor Talia's death. Okay, it was a bad take, whatever. I'll get over it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I do love this movie. I mean, it was one of the first movies and only movies I ever truly saw at a midnight showing. Um, I could not wait for this movie to come out. I mean, I planned a vacation around this movie coming out because I didn't want to be on the internet spoiled of this movie. So I was like, let me distract myself. And my wife and I went on a vacation before the movie came out. And I avoided the internet for like a week. Back when you only got spoilers for a week prior to a movie.
Yeah.
Um, and you could actually avoid it by being on vacation. So, but it was I still the hype there was so much hype around this movie that I was worried I remember like my head was spinning the first 45 minutes of the movie, and I kept thinking to myself, I've seen this whole 45 minutes in the trailers and the clips.
Mm,
Like I absorbed way too much going into that movie, and it was the time that I watched that movie that I decided I have to stop watching clips on the internet before movies. I have to stop watching every single interview where they would bring a clip on like a talk show and all that because I literally was watching the first 45 minutes of the movie thinking like I've seen this already. Like the whole first 45 minutes of the movie. And I I was like I was just I couldn't enjoy the movie because I just kept thinking. Like my head was literally just spinning. But once I got past that and I realized okay, now we're in new territory and I could just sit back and enjoy the movie. I loved where this movie went.
mm.
And I've heard the complaint about like, oh, they take Batman off the out of the movie early on, and he's not Batman for a large portion. It never bothered me. I loved the story they told. We get a lot of like old grizzled Batman stories now where it's become a cliche. Well, this one was the first one to really do it, and it
Sure.
didn't bother me. So I love the story. I love the ending. We got a true ending to a Batman franchise. I was so nervous they were going to try to bring it back with all those rumors so many times. And I'm glad this trilogy has just stayed intact as a trilogy. And I wanted to stay that way because I love being able to watch all three of those movies. And just I think it's a perfect ending. I really do. I get the Blake stuff is a little on the nose and people can criticize that for what it is. It's Nolan being Nolan. I was never mad about it. At the time I loved it. I'm a little more annoyed with it now, but I'm not going to fault the movie because over time I wish we got a Robin. At the time I loved it. So I'm not going to forget that I loved it at the time.
I'm right there with you on that point. I was never mad at it until so many people told me I should be, and then
Hmm.
and now it's kind of I'm still not mad at it, but it's
Yeah.
I think about what everybody says about it every time I watch that movie
Yes.
now. So, and again, I do love that movie. It's nothing to do with where it's ranked is me saying I don't love it. And I've told you many times the exact same thing that you just said. I love that I have a beginning, middle, and end of
Hmm.
a Batman story that I can sit down and watch. So yeah, I'm not mad at that positioning at all. But my number five is the iconic and the classic Batman from 1989. Out of the three Batman movies that I saw in 1995, because I started with Batman Forever in theaters as the first Batman movie I ever saw, and then that Christmas I've told you several times before I got all three of them on VHS Christmas morning, and man, it was very confusing how I had a very different looking Batman when I was a kid in three movies. But everything about this movie is iconic. I mean, Jack Nicholson's Joker, the Batmobile, Michael Keaton as Batman. Wonderful. And it was so hard to put this movie at number five for me.
Hmm.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to go somewhere. And there's just four other Batman movies that I love just a little bit more. But it takes nothing away from this one because it will always be in regular rotation for me. It's an amazing Batman movie.
Well, I'll piggyback because I have it at my four.
Okay.
So yeah, I this movie will always be like the comfort food Batman movie for me.
Hmm.
Where yes, I have three more Batman movies ahead of it, but there's something about putting this one on and it just takes me back to being a little kid. And this movie, it was just, I said what I said about Batman the movie, how it was there from such a small, or I'm sorry, a young age. But this movie was just always a part of my life
Yeah.
because it never went away. Where 66 has kind of gone away. I like going back to it once in a while. This Batman movie has never gone away. I've never had to go back to it because it's always been a part of my life. And I just I Like my wife will every time I turn this movie on, she'll be like, "Why are you watching this again?" This, and we talk about this a lot with this and Mask of the Phantasm, where I'll just put it on randomly, and she'll be like, "Why you're always watching this one?" Not there's something about just putting it on. It's a quick 2 hours, and it's just put it on in the background, and it's just comfort. It really is. I love everything about it. Like you said, there's so much iconic stuff about it. We don't even need to discuss most of the stuff about the movie. Everyone knows the movie, but I truly do just absolutely love this movie. And yeah, it's four. There's three movies ahead of it for me, but I still like I'm happy with it at four.
Yeah, yeah, and that's fair. I there's it gets really tough when you're talking about all these movies. It's stressful to rank these movies because
I was really I was changing them before we started recording.
yeah, you're gonna upset somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it shouldn't because it's just it's a ranking and it's your opinion. But this movie is so beloved. I know that people are gonna think we're crazy for not having it in the top two.
Mm.
But I mean that just goes to show you the quality of the Batman movies that we've gotten over the years. So, fair enough. That's your number four. So I will move to my number four. And for me in that slot is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
The longer you
Another.
go without saying the one that I'm waiting for you to say, it's just gonna make me mad. So that's okay. You're making me
Okay.
and Andy mad right now. But I was
I
hoping it was your
understand.
four,
Um,
not to spoil anything.
BVS, Batman v Superman is still a movie that I I adore. Lumps and all, bruises and all that it's
Mhm.
taken. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. He is my personal favorite live action Batman. The only detriment to Ben Affleck's Batman is I hate that we never got a solo Batman movie with him.
Yeah.
But I mean the arc and the story that he goes on in this movie just I love it. And I am never going to apologize for loving it. His suit is amazing. It is the best live action Batman suit, bar none, in my opinion. And they just work it. I mean, the Martha rescue scene is probably the best on screen Batman moment we've ever had.
Mhm.
And for all those reasons, that's why it edges out 89 for me because it's just such a good representation of Batman on film for me. So, and I'm sensing that you're not ready to talk about this one yet. Is that right?
Is my three. So we're kind of
Okay. Well, we'll
we're
go
right there.
ahead. We'll move on to our number threes then officially. So take it away and gush
So
on Batman v Superman.
I keep having mine one slot up above you for this
Mm.
this time period because of your love for this other movie that we're going to talk about soon. But so yeah, I getting while watching this in the theater, I don't know how I would have ever had it as high as three because I still remember just sitting in that theater watching this movie going, "What the hell am I watching?"
Right.
And again, I've talked about it on the show before. I went to LA to see this movie. I was so pumped for this movie. My wife and I made a trip to Los Angeles. We saw the WB tour. We went to the premiere at the Chinese theater. Like it was
I'm jealous
everything.
every time you share pictures of that
Oh,
stuff.
I had such a blast that week. I could not have been on a bigger high to go sit in that theater and still be like, what the F am I watching? But man, it worked for me at the end, and it took me the whole movie to get there. But and yeah, there were times where I was like, oh no, what's going on? But it always found its way back for me, where like if I
Mm.
thought it was going too far in a direction, it would come back and just do something that I love. And it got me in the emotional feels. That's really where this movie gets me. And that might not be the Batman stuff wholeheartedly, but talking about the movie as a whole, that's where it gets me. But the Batman stuff in general, looking at this as a Batman movie where he is kind of the driving, really, he's I'm sorry, the antagonist for most
He
of the
is.
movie. And I think that's what makes it a hard pill to swallow while you're watching the movie. But when he has that redeeming factor towards the end, and like you said, you get to the Martha rescue and you get the best Batman we've ever seen on screen like that. It's
I
it's
mean, it's
really,
Arkham Batman come to life.
yeah, it's amazing. So that's why I have it this high. We get a lot of great Batman scenes, and you're right. It's a shame that we never got an Affleck solo Batman movie, but we got some great Affleck Batman in this movie and in Justice League. So I'm not mad about it. I'm glad we got what we got, and I still love this movie. And again, I think again, I it's hard for me because I said what I said about Justice League being an ensemble, and this is, he's the antagonist for most of the movie. I have it pretty high still. I don't know if I penalize it for being a Batman and Superman movie. I think it passes that, like it overcomes that in my eyes. And that's why I have it at 3, because I don't know if I would have it above my 1 and 2. I mean, I don't know if we ever got a Batman solo movie with Affleck. Maybe it would have surpassed it. I have no way of knowing. But this movie, in it of itself, I don't think is a better movie than my 1 and 2, if that makes
Mm.
sense. I'm not penalizing it for being a Batman Superman movie, but it's hard to, talk in metaphoricals there. But I do love this movie, and I have grown to love it more and more every time I watch it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people may take umbrage with the fact
And
that
when I
that
said
I
metaphoricals, I meant hypotheticals.
yeah, I know what you meant. People may take umbrage with the fact that I said I love the representation of Batman in this movie, because a lot of people don't, but they can't see past, oh, Batman does this and that, but it's the arc that he goes on
Yeah.
for me. It's that he, at the end of the movie, everything that everybody, throws at this movie about what Batman does, he feels that guilt himself. That was the
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
which is, I love that arc for Batman.
Yep. It's been thought about at nauseum. We don't have to go down that role.
Yeah.
It's hard to not go down there, but
Well, I
I'm
wanted to
with you.
just say that because I knew somebody would
Nope, I
probably
know.
say.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right. Well, you've got your number 3 with BVS. So my number 3, you can go ahead and get mad at me now, Joe, because
No, I would have gotten mad at you if you didn't say it.
my number 3 is the Batman from 2022. And this is another one. It fascinates me, this movie, and the the different sides of the fence that people are on with it. Because there's so many people that really love this movie, and there are people that cannot stand this movie, and it's fascinating. But for me, ever since the first time I saw it in theaters in 2022, I have loved this movie. And for me, there's a lot of things that I wanted to see for a long, long time in a Batman movie that I saw in this. I got to see Batman's inner monologue, or hear it. I got to see Batman in, more in depth in the middle of a crime scene, investigating with cops in the room. You know what I mean? It just that's straight out of comic books. He does that all the time, but you don't see it that much in the movies. And I will even defend this. I know there's a lot of vitriol towards the Batmobile. I'm a muscle car guy. I love that car. Is it my perfection, what I see in my mind's eye as a Batmobile? No. But I see the groundwork for what can be a really amazing Batmobile. And in this movie, I saw a badass car that I really liked. And then on top of all just the little cool sprinkles of Batman things, because there's so much, there's references to different Batman stories over the years that I love seeing and hearing in the movie. But the story itself, I really love going on the journey of this story, through Bruce discovering things about his parents and what's right and what's wrong about that history. And even though he may not be my favorite representation of Riddler, I love the way Riddler was played in this movie, and the traps and the puzzles and the things that he leaves. So, I mean, story beats, characterization of Batman. There's just so much that I love about this Batman, and I'm not apologizing for it. So for all that reason, it's my number 3. And you've already talked about it, so I don't know if you have any rebuttals or anything you want.
No, I'm not here to convince you, you're wrong or anything like that. I'm happy that you loved it as much as you did. And I think that's why, you said there's so many people that love the movie or so many people that hate the movie, where I'm kind of in the middle and I see both sides of it. And I think
Yeah.
that's why it's almost harder for me because I don't get why people are so adamant one way or the other. Because I'm kind of like, well, it's kind of whatever. And I don't really get aggravated one way or the other. For me, I
What
think the movie's just kind of there.
Yeah, and looking at the listener rankings, that's what fascinated me the most because it generally didn't fall in the middle much.
Hmm.
It was
And
on one
that's,
end or the
yeah,
other.
I completely get it. And
Yeah.
mine is in the middle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a little lower than most people had it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you had it that high for the strict reason of I think our list would have been almost identical if you didn't have it that high. That's like the one where we really disagree the most.
Yeah. I mean, we had some differences early on, but most
Yeah,
of them are
but the
within
top
one or
of
two
our list is
spots.
pretty
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are up to our top two, but before we dive into those two films, we are going to take another quick break and check in with another few really good friends that have sent us some messages celebrating our 100th. So let's go to those. It's Ryan Lauer from the Batman Book Club and Andy DiGenova, host of Holy Batcast.
Eric's employee Joe. Congratulations on 100 episodes of The Fire Rises. Glad to hear the fire just keeps rising and doesn't burn out. For some reason, you guys are including my voice in your celebratory episode, and I don't know if it's to enhance the audio experience or to drop the quality of the show. I just don't know. Regardless, I appreciate the offer, and you've both earned a coupon for a free listen of my podcast, The Batman Book Club. Taxes not included. Anyway, on to the point of this recording, ranking live-action Batman. Full disclosure, I can enjoy all of these movies to some extent, and will revisit all of them quite often of my own choosing. Let's get going. Number 12, Batman and Robin. It's silly, but time and more Batman movies have made this a movie I'll randomly put on from time to time. It's honestly only like the last 20 or 30 minutes where I start to feel, I think I'm over it. Number 11, Justice League, 2017. I enjoyed this in the theater and haven't changed my opinion on that, but my biggest upset with this one, though, is probably outside of the opening scene. Batman is he's embarrassing in this. And that hurts me. Number 10, Batman, the movie. I can't binge the 66 series. I'm good after like an hour, maybe like 2 episodes, maybe 3, and then I'm just kind of like, okay, I need a break. I can't binge it. Well, I kind of feel the same way about the 66 movie. I have fun an hour, hour 10, hour 15, but then I start to feel like I'm just like a little over it, and so I turn it off. Number 9, this is where my enjoyment level of Batman movies jumps quite a few ticks. Batman vs. Superman. Movie's not for everyone, and I do understand why those who don't like it. I don't think it was like ahead of its time or too smart for the masses. I feel like the movie is just kind of messy and clunky at times, even in the Ultimate Edition, but I can back for some of the really good Batman moments, which there are some truly great Batman and Bruce Wayne moments in that movie, so I like that one. Number 8, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's longer, so it doesn't get as many revisits as the others, but it's an improvement over the 2017 version, I think, by quite a few ticks. Some parts that were added on weren't needed. Some were, I think, awful. Leto's Joker. But there's some good overall action and story that just works better than the previous version to me. Number 7, now we're in full constant rotation mode. Batman Forever. Pure popcorn fun. Nostalgia is definitely a play for Batman Forever with me, but this movie was a massive hit in the 90s, and upon rewatching it, I still think it's pure popcorn fun. I just keep saying popcorn. Maybe I'm hungry. Jim Carrey was my idol at the time that this came out, and he's still a blast to watch, and I revisit this movie, and I've already watched it twice this year because popcorn. Number 6, The Dark Knight Rises. I think it's a great capper to Nolan's trilogy. Great moments are sprinkled throughout, as well as the nods to Batman comic stories. I mean, TDKR is right there in the title, as well as one of its lines from that story of like, "You're in for a show tonight." Hardy's Bane is a scene stealer, and so is Hathaway's Catwoman. And of course, I think Bale just knocks it out of the park as Batman. Number 5, Batman Returns. Annual Christmas watch for me. Love it for how dark and Tim Burton-y that it is. Is the story as good as Dark Knight Rises? I mean, I don't know, debatable, but I think this one is just more rewatchable. It's also that 2-hour mark is just the perfect time as you get older, I think, too, of like, oh, I can make this happen. I do revisit this one more than Rises also. So number 4, 2 to 4. Oh my gosh, they're constantly shifting in my list and changing. It'll probably shift by the time this episode drops. But for now, I'll say my number 4 is Batman Begins. Can't say anything that hasn't already been said. I love it. Number 3, The Batman. Pure Gotham atmosphere for 3 hours where we're just riding shotgun with this Batman as he moves through Gotham. It's long, but never overstays its welcome for me. It's just pure mood. And the Riddler, a lot of debate on this take. I mean, to me, he wears green, he has a question mark, and he asks riddles. That's the Riddler. He's not wearing a bowler hat or a jacket, which, like, for a long time in the comics, he actually didn't either. It was Frank Gorshin that kind of brought that to the table. But anyways, this version, it's definitely a take that I think is absolutely true to the character and works in this universe and this mood that Matt Reeves has set up. Love this movie. Number 2, Batman. The movie I've seen the most in my life, and nothing will catch up to it. Batman Forever may be the most popcorn Batman movie, but Batman is, I think, the most rewatchable. And number 1, The Dark Knight. It's my favorite movie, and good luck to whatever tries to top it. While some say it's the better movie, but Begins is the better Batman movie, I call shenanigans. I think The Dark Knight evolves what played out in Begins and gives the character new challenges to face that he hadn't before. And on top of that, and maybe the biggest reason for that, or example of that, is Heath Ledger's Joker. This is one of the best Batman vs. Joker stories in any medium ever, in my opinion. And I think Heath gives one of the best performances in a movie, period. Simply adore The Dark Knight. And there we go. Hopefully it didn't go on too long. Sorry, I just keep blabbing. But again, thanks for the invite, gentlemen, and congratulations on 100 episodes.
Hey, Eric and Joe. The Fire Rises, TM. It's your old pal Andy from Holy Batcast, and congratulations on 100 episodes. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. I have some other nice words to share, but I'm going to wait until after we take care of business, because you did ask for my ranking of the live-action Batman films. So I'm going to go ahead and share those with you from the bottom, starting at number 12 and working our way up to number 1. Okay, y'all ready? Here we go. Coming in last, number 12. It's the Batman from 2022. I know. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm going to get letters, but I got to be honest. And yeah, it's last. Number 11, Batman Forever. You know, I've had a complicated relationship with this one. I've come to accept it, but part of that is just from getting beaten into submission by Brendan, and it's fine. Number 10, Batman and Robin. It's complete nonsense, but you kind of got to respect just the level of nonsense they were going for. It is what it is. Number 9, Justice League, or Justice League, the theatrical cut. You know what? I know it's a mess. I know it's a Frankenstein movie, but there's some good moments in there. So, I like it more than most. Number 8, and should be noted from number 8 all the way up to number 1, these are all movies I either really, really like or straight up love. Okay? So number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. It has some issues. We all know what they are, but it's still really damn good. Bane rocks, Catwoman rocks, John Blake sucks. All right. Number 7, Batman the Movie from 1966. Just pure joy, fun, silliness. Perfect encapsulation of 60s Batman. It's a blast. Number 6, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just a much better movie than the theatrical version. A much purer movie. A much more complete movie. And also some great Batman stuff in there. Coming at number 5, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I mean, of course, the extended cut, the Ultimate Edition, we assume that, right? You guys know that. Yeah, you know what? It's a divisive one. I get it. It's not for everybody. I dig it. I like that flavor. I liked what they were serving up. I really enjoy it. I love revisiting it. Brings us to number 4. Number 4, Batman Returns. Speaking of divisive, I know some Batman fans love it, some don't. I love it. I do. This one's very strange and unusual, but thankfully, I am also strange and unusual. Number 3, The Dark Knight. A masterpiece. Come on. What can you say? It's legendary. It changed the game. The Dark Knight. It's as good as its reputation. It's amazing. We love it. Number 2, Batman Begins. Just as good as The Dark Knight. I dare say. A perfect Batman origin, but also just a great Batman movie in and of itself. I would say it's the best Batman origin story ever told. And that brings me to number one, shocking no one, Batman from 1989. It is the movie that changed movies. It is the movie that changed summer movies. And it's the movie that changed my life and made me a lifelong Batman fan. Plus, it's a great movie. So there you have it, from 12 to 1. I can't wait to see the result. I hope you're having fun doing that spreadsheet. I'm a little jealous. All that aside, again, thank you for inviting me to drop you this little line for your 100th episode. Again, I'm so happy for you guys. Glad to have you as part of the greater online Batman community. Your show's a lot of fun. I love checking it out. Love seeing what you're doing. It's always fun when we coincide and we end up doing similar things. But yeah, truly, truly happy for you guys. And it's worth noting that the show aside, as much as I appreciate your show, I appreciate you guys. Joe and Eric, you are two fantastic gentlemen. You are great people. You are great friends. And I am appreciative to our Batman podcasting world bringing us together as friends. So thank you all for all the hard work you do on the show. But more importantly, thank you for being awesome human beings and awesome friends. So congrats again. Here's to 100 more. Then maybe call it quits. I'm not like, for your own sanity, coming from experience, like, get out while you still can. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it for 10 years and it's just insane. But no, keep up the good work. And I love you guys. Here's wishing you all the best for the next 100 episodes or whatever.
Okay, guys. So Ryan, Andy, thank you so much for sending your rankings and those kind words. We greatly appreciate it. You guys are two great friends in the podcasting bubble that we have. So we greatly appreciate you guys sending those in. Joe,
thank you guys very much. And I think I shorted Brendan because we were talking about Jamie busting my chops. So thank you, Brendan, too. I don't think I thanked him. So let me get the thank you in on him before he yells at me. But thank you,
because he would
guys.
have.
Yeah, thanks to all you guys for sending those in. It really means a lot to us.
Absolutely. Okay, Joe. So we have made it to the cream of the crop here. We're on the last two, and funnily enough, I think our answers are going to be fairly similar here.
It could go either way.
So, I mean, I think they're either way. They may be flip flop, but I think they're going to be pretty similar films. I'll kick it off with my number two, and boy, is it hard to put this film at number two and not number one.
Either one.
But
either one. I don't even know which one you're picking, but I agree.
And number two, it is The Dark Knight.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yours is number two as well?
Yes.
Okay, so our top two are going to be identical then.
We'll go together then, yeah.
So, this is one of the greatest films ever made. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, to just take Batman and superhero out of it, this is one of the best films ever made. And there has been so much said about the performance of Heath Ledger as the Joker, and I still don't think it's quite enough. Because, man, I have never seen someone play a villain and fascinate me as much as Heath Ledger did in this movie in 2008.
And disappear. Disappear throughout the whole movie from just a little bit of makeup.
Yeah. I mean, it's an epic performance, and unfortunately, I honestly think that sometimes that overshadows the wonderful performance that Christian Bale gave.
Yeah,
because, and I know people like to take shots at the raspy voice now and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a crime epic set in Gotham City with Batman as the lead detective, if it were. Because I mean, it's been compared to so many like mafia and mob movies, and it surpasses all of them in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could bottle how I felt leaving the theater in 2008 after watching this movie. Because it was such a, I'm not even going to say I was elated. I was just like dumbfounded at this movie.
Well, I think what's actually frustrating to me is I think all the stupid cliches that people pit against this movie or pit this movie against Batman Begins are why I probably have it at number two,
Mm,
where it's like, oh, it's a great movie, but Batman Begins is a better Batman movie. And it's like, I hate when people say it, but I agree, and I hate that I agree because this is such an amazing Batman movie. Like this, I
yeah, it is.
I don't I think it's an unfair slight to say this is a great movie. It's not just a great Batman movie. And I think like people say that in a negative, and I just don't. I think you're saying that to take away from the fact that this is a great Batman movie, and I don't agree with that. I
No.
think this movie is great because of what it does with Batman and what it does with the Joker, and those are pretty big parts in a Batman comic book, like let's not pretend like they're shying away from that because that's what Nolan never did that. Like, I mean, I know people can say like, oh, he didn't embrace it as much as he could have, but man, like he gave us some of the best comic book stuff we could ever have asked for in these non-comic book movies that he was trying to make. Um, and I love this movie. I love I mean, Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face is the heart of this movie and the arc of this movie, the downfall of the movie, like
Hmm.
whatever you call, an antagonist arc. I don't know what that's called. Is it still an arc? It's just a
Yeah, it's still a story
downward
arc.
arc. I don't know. Um, that's the heart of the movie, though, and or the heartbreak of the movie.
Well,
And
and I mentioned Bale being overshadowed. I mean, I
yeah,
think Aaron Eckhart may be the most
yes,
overshadowed because, man, what a performance he gives.
yeah,
And the
and
shame of it is, I don't know from this role, I don't know how he's not a leading man today.
yeah, he gets very overshadowed in almost everything. Like he stepped into this role, became this amazing actor in the Batman world, but somehow never got that next role to put him over
Hmm.
the top as an actor. And I love his part in this movie. He doesn't get talked about enough. But yeah, you're right. Bale does not get enough credit. I think it's because Bale is so consistent throughout the three movies. And I also think people love to just harp on that voice, which is just so unfair. It's become such a stupid nitpick of these movies. And is it a little over the top? Sure, whatever. I don't know. It never bothered me. I think the more people make fun of it, the more I'm like trying to defend it because I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
Yeah.
But is it better in Begins? Yeah. So again, it's one of those things that like I agree with. I just don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Um, but
that
The
horse
Dark
is
Knight is
beaten.
every time when I watch Batman Begins, and it's hard to talk about this movie for me without talking about Batman Begins, and I know we'll get to that, but when whenever I watch Batman Begins and I say this is my favorite Batman movie, and then I go and I watch The Dark Knight, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, am I forgetting about this movie? Like every time I watch it, I forget how good it is.
Mm,
And it really is just that damn good.
yeah,
And so yeah, that's The Dark Knight.
for sure. Well, let's move on then to our number ones because it sounds like both of us have Batman Begins at number one. So I took the lead on The Dark Knight. So take it away, Joe. Tell me about your love for Batman Begins.
I mean, again, like it's the cliche, but Batman Begins is the most Batman movie in the Nolan trilogy, and
Mm,
it is Batman from start to finish. He's not overshadowed by the villain. He's not, ironically though, he is not Batman for the first hour of the movie, yet he is the most Batman. Like we're seeing the origin of Batman for the first time on screen. We never got that before. It is definitely the most, again, I've said it, and there's no better way to say it, but it's the most comic booky of the three. Where, I think the stylization of the movie is at its best in this movie. The stylization of the character and the world is at its best in this movie for the trilogy because they used sound stages. They made it look like Gotham. It wasn't based off of another city. I mean, yeah, they filmed it I think it was still filmed in Chicago, but it didn't look like Chicago to me.
it looks like
Um,
Gotham.
yeah, the Narrows looked like a stylized version of Gotham. Not quite as stylized as the Burton film, or films, excuse me, but it was still, it had this great look to it, and the action in it was so much fun, and you get you know, this origin that we never got, and then we get the great suit, and I think the suit is my preference to the Dark Knight.
Hmm.
Um, I just think everything works in this movie so perfectly. I love everything about it. Um, it's hard because I like I said, it's a cliche. Is The Dark Knight probably a better movie? I I don't think it's as I don't think there's that much of a discrepancy between the two as people say. But yeah, I guess I could see why The Dark Knight is technically the better movie. But I prefer if I'm going to watch a Batman movie, I probably do prefer Batman Begins. And this could go either way for me. It really could. Yeah, I feel like whatever one I'm watching at the time is my number one.
I don't know. When I'm looking at these two films, I don't know that I could honestly, legitimately say one is a better movie than the other. Like the margin between them
Mhm.
is razor thin, so far as quality, because I think they're both fantastic films and both fantastic Batman films. And given the day, sometimes The Dark Knight slips into that number one spot. But this one's always the one that I come back to as my number one. Batman Begins, first of all, I was completely and I've said this ad nauseum, but I was completely out of Batman and comic books and anything related
Mhm.
before the release of this movie. This is the movie that pulled me back in and got me invested again.
Yeah, I don't even think I
And
was excited when this movie came out.
no, I think I went and saw it on a whim because
Yeah.
and and I was just blown away by it. And there's so many things about, I talked about in the Batman, there was so many little Batman things that I'd wanted to see for years. There's stuff in this movie that is that way
Yeah.
too. There, you hear all the time about Bruce Wayne leaving Gotham when he was younger and, traveling abroad and training, but you never see it. You saw it here. Like you got to see him go abroad and train and become this skilled crime fighter and come back to Gotham and start waging his war on crime in Gotham City. And I think what you mentioned is what does push this above The Dark Knight slightly for me. Because when I watch this movie, when Batman is in the city, he's in Gotham. I see that a little less in The Dark Knight.
Mhm.
I see him in clean city streets with, immaculate skyscrapers. It's just Chicago,
Yeah.
and that's not a knock on the movie. It's just a visual preference thing.
Yeah.
They're both great Batman movies, but this is the more visually appealing Batman movie for me. Because it looks, it sounds, it feels like Gotham City, if that makes sense.
Oh, it definitely does. And it's weird to say like almost this movie for Batman fans is like the underdog of the two because like the
Yeah.
non-comic book fans love The Dark Knight and that's the one that always is talked about. And I feel like we feel like no, like don't discredit Batman Begins. Like don't sleep on Batman Begins. Batman Begins is just as good of a movie.
Hmm.
And it's almost like we feel defensive over Batman Begins because everyone loves The Dark Knight. And it's
Yes.
kind of like how I'm actually defensive of The Dark Knight Rises to a lesser degree because I think it gets the short end of the stick between all three of the movies. But I could literally there are times that I can watch The Dark Knight Rises and think like, wow, this is just as good as the other two.
Yeah.
But I think, looking at it, trying to be impartial as I can be, these two are on another level. And I do just always there are times when I can slip The Dark Knight in at number one, but more consistently, I have Batman Begins as my number one, just because of the way that movie made me feel, and like we say, brought us back to being Batman fans, and just gave us this new world of Batman
Hmm.
uh, in pop culture and the way he's represented now. Like we wouldn't have all these other new films if it wasn't for Batman Begins.
Yeah, I completely agree. And to your point about the suit earlier, I mean, that's just another notch in that visual appeal for
Yeah.
Batman Begins for me because I love that suit.
Yeah, and I don't dislike the Dark Knight suit. I know that's become like a cool thing to do is to shit on that suit, and I disagree. I actually think the suit is really cool looking, but I
I do
think the Batman
too.
Begins suit just has that like bigger silhouette feel. Like
Yeah, completely agree. For me, it's just a slight taste thing because I do really like the suit from The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, but at the end of the day, visually, I prefer this suit. And for the longest time, until BVS, this was my favorite look for Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, for all those reasons, that is number one for myself and for Joe. So we've done it, Joe. We have ranked the 12 live action Batman films. How do you feel after we've ranked them?
It's still weird to me that we never did this. I feel like we've done this before.
I know it feels like we should have, right?
It's definitely an odd thing that we'd never done this before. I could not believe it when you told me that. Um, but yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was a kind of a perfect accident that this fell into your ideas or fell into your lap for our 100th. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was nice. It was good to at least have some variety between the two of our lists because, like I said, I always worry like we're pretty similar with our tastes. So it was good to have some exchanges and some a little variety.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to do it for our rankings, but we're not quite ready to leave you guys because again, we got a lot of votes for other people's rankings, so we really appreciate everyone who sent one in. We did get two messages attached with rankings, so I did want to make sure I gave those a moment here. Jonathan Mercado sent a message. He said, "Greetings, my Bat brothers. Thought I send my first email. Congrats on the podcast. Been following you guys since before you started TFR. Happy to share the love of Batman with you." And then he did include his rankings, which he said were a little harder to put together than he thought. So I'm with you there, Jonathan. They are tough to rank. But I really appreciate you sending your rankings and your message there. Fascinating because I feel like you engage a lot with us on social media. So I'm kind of surprised that this is your first email to us. I feel like Jonathan's message just before.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah. Thank you though,
And
Jonathan.
absolutely. And then of course, Stuart from Guernsey did send us a message with his ranking as well. He said, "Hey guys, it's Stuart. I just want to say happy 100th episode. You guys quickly became my second favorite podcast behind Holy Batcast back in the early days of the show. Your optimism is one of the strengths of the show. Even when you do have any criticism, it is constructive and not toxic, which in this day and age is very rare. I hope you guys will keep going so we can celebrate episode 200 in the near future. Keep doing what you do. I'm looking forward to hearing your Batman rankings and the listeners as well. My list has slightly changed since the last ranking on Batcast, but the top 8 are pretty solid. Anyway, let's keep the celebrations going. Stuart." Stuart, that's a fantastic message, and I really appreciate the sentiments there. You sent us so many emails since we started, and you've been so supportive of the show, so I really want to thank you and putting us up there in the sphere with Holy Batcast. That's pretty high praise. So I don't know that we're deserving of that, but I really appreciate it, Stuart.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. We'll definitely take number two. They're our number one, so
Yeah.
we don't expect us to be anywhere near that. So we definitely appreciate that. And yeah, like to echo Erica, you've been such a great supporter of ours. It's always, when you start these podcasts, you want the interactions. That's what's so much fun is to hear from you guys. And Stuart, it's so nice to get the emails with your name on it and recognize the name and get to talk to you guys. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Joe. Well, are you ready to hear how it shook up with the listeners and their rankings?
All right, let's go.
Okay, so I took a leaf out of Andy DeGenova's book, and I'm going to be giving him that leaf back after this episode because I'm not as much of a fan of Excel spreadsheets and doing math as Andy is. So he can have that back. But it was interesting. It was an interesting little experiment here. So we got a pretty good amount of rankings sent to us, and I did build a table in Excel, and we've tabulated them. So just before we get into the list itself, I do want to let you know, Joe, that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 6 different Batman movies that got at least one vote for the top of the list. So half of these 12 movies, at least one person thought was the best Batman movie. And I know you had told me the last time I told you that, you said you thought it would have been more than that, honestly. But I mean, half of these movies getting a number one vote, that's pretty stout.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying because now I'm thinking, I'm like, wow, like six different ones. I maybe I thought like variety because I expect variety, but can I guess the six?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll say Batman Begins, Dark Knight, The Batman, Batman 89. Was that four?
Mm-hmm.
BVS,
Yep.
Dark Knight Rises.
Nope.
What am I missing? Batman Returns?
Yes.
Wow, good. I actually should have said Batman Forever. I'm shocked nobody had Batman Forever at number one. But okay, very
I
cool.
wasn't really surprised about Forever. I was surprised that Return or Rises didn't get at least one.
Does someone have Forever as number two?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, a lot of variety there. And I will tell you, the movie that is in the number one slot got it by one vote. It was so super razor thin. And the number two spot is a tie.
Oh wow.
So at one point, I had three movies that were tied for first. And I was like, what are we going to do here? But without any more preamble or further ado, let's go through the listener tabulated and average rankings 12 to 1. So at number 12, no surprise, Justice League from 2017. Number 11, again, no surprise, Batman and Robin.
I'm actually a little surprised at Justice League because I thought that the two would kind of, if someone preferred the theatrical to the Zack Snyder's, they might kind of cross each other out and they might end up being 11 because they're like going back and forth. I'm
Number
happy
10,
about it, but I'm okay with it.
Number 10 did kind of surprise me a little bit. The Dark Knight Rises came in at number 10.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. We've
Yeah.
let
Which
the listeners
I
down.
had it at 9, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
Number
a love it or
9.
hate it, I guess.
Yeah.
And nobody, I think because nobody loves it, but like people will defend it and say it's like good.
Yeah. Um where was I? Number 9 is Batman the movie from 1966.
Okay.
Number 8 is Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Which, the only surprise to me so far would be Rises.
Yeah.
Number 7, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number 6, Batman Returns.
Okay.
Number
Pretty similar to
5,
my list so far,
yeah, pretty similar, yeah.
other than the Rises.
Number 5, Batman v Superman.
Okay.
Number 4, The Batman. Silence. Number 3, Batman from 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, The Dark Knight. And number 1, Batman Begins. So it shook out. The top 2 shook out exactly like our lists.
Well, so
but
wait, technically, so did you give the Dark Knight the edge because of us?
I gave The Dark Knight the edge at number 2 because Batman 89 and The Dark Knight tied for second. I gave the edge because The Dark Knight got more second place votes than 89 did. So that's how I kind of got the tiebreaker. But for all intents and purposes, 89 and The Dark Knight tied. They got the same amount of number 1 votes.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. We have the listener votes tabulated, and that's the official list from the rankings that you guys sent us. Were there any major surprises outside of Rises for you there?
You said the Batman was number 4?
4.
I mean, I guess I think that's high, but I guess our listeners liked it, which, I mean, that's pretty high for a movie that I again think is kind of mad, but I'm not like mad about it. I guess I'm mad about Rises being 9.
Yeah,
but
no,
that's
10.
okay.
Rises was 10.
Oh, 10, jeez.
Yeah.
And BVS was what, 5?
5.
Yeah. All right.
I like BVS being at 5.
Yeah, I
on an
think that's
average
fair
ranking.
because that's pretty hated in some circles too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think it's a good list. So, and I'm happy as I can be that the listeners put the Batman in the top 5. So, but thank you guys so much. This has been such a fun episode to do. It's been great hearing from other members of our community, getting all these rankings sent in to us. We greatly appreciate it. This has been a blast. I've had so much fun preparing for this episode and now putting it together. I mean, I think this is one of the most fun ones we've ever done. And I'm not just saying that because it's our 100th. I've had a blast doing this one.
No, I definitely had a blast doing it, and I tell you all that whenever you put it out to the listeners, I am like, what if nobody responds? What if nobody? I get my anxiety from that because I still am always very humbled by everyone's interactions and everyone's participation with it because I always worry like, what if Eric goes, hey guys, like send your stuff in, and we get like 2 people send stuff in, and we look like idiots. So
Yeah.
it is really nice that you guys do this, and that's what makes it really special. I love talking to Eric either way, but it is really nice that we get these interactions. It's really fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. But guys, we've gotten well wishes, and we'll see you at 200. Here's hoping we're here for 200. I
We're
can't
always just
promise.
looking at the next one.
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah,
hope
it's
we get
always the next
round.
one for us. So, but yeah, we'll keep doing this as long as we possibly can, and as long as you guys listen. So, we greatly appreciate you guys checking in every time we drop an episode and leaving messages. It's appreciated, and I hope you
With the
guys
way
know it.
things are going, 200 might be the Batman part 2. Oh, we got to
Oh,
make it to for a Batman podcast. We got to at least make it to Superman in the summer. We should be all right
yeah,
with that. Yeah, we
yeah.
should be all right with that.
We've got a lot coming up this year that I'm excited for. We do have a lot of anniversaries. We got the Batman Forever, which I think now is going to be a little bit of a
Yeah,
tough
it's
one.
it's a very packed summer with anniversaries and
We've
yeah.
got Superman. So yeah, we've got a lot coming your way, guys. So it's our 100th, but it's definitely not the end. But Joe, I think that's a great place to put a pin in it for this one. Thank you for going on this journey with me. I know you weren't on every one, but you were on the pretty much what 95 of them, something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. I think was I on one? I was on one because that was our Ben Affleck episode, right? Was that number one? No, what was our first
Batman and
episode?
Bill was our first
Oh, that's
episode.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was on the first episode, and then we did the Affleck one too, and so yeah, and then Sean O'Connell came on. So I was on like 3 of the first 5, I think, and then I was or sporadic here and there, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was pretty much from day one. So yeah, this has been
Absolutely.
a blast, and I'm so glad I got to do this with you because that wasn't the plan, was for me to be on every episode when this started. It kind of just fell into that, and I'm glad it did. So
You wormed your way in there.
yeah, I found it casually happened, and like I said, we're looking forward to Superman this summer. I'm hoping to finally be able to meet up with you and go see it together, which will be a lot of fun. That's still the plan, hopefully, and we're gonna try to make that work. So
Yep.
we have a lot of fun stuff coming up this year with Batman and Superman, so it'll be good.
And to take a leaf out of the now not existing anymore real blend, we've got a few if it happens in the
Oh, that's
works.
right. I forgot you told me about that. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna say what it is right now, just in case it crashes and burns and doesn't happen at all. But there's a few exciting things that I'm really hoping happens this year. So maybe something for you guys to look forward to.
Yeah.
But Joe, we'll go ahead and sign off there. Again, thank you, and why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yeah, I am not on Blue Sky. I don't know where the heck that came from. But, I'm still on X. I'm not, pulling that plug yet. I'm barely on there, but I am on there if anyone wants to find me on there. So it's X and Instagram and Letterboxd as J411, and then Facebook as Joe Fornarato, FORNAROTTO.
Excellent. And as for myself, you can find my personal accounts on Instagram, X, and Threads and Letterboxd at mecarter89. That's mecarter89. The show can be found on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and now Blue Sky, as Joe pointed out. Just search TFR Batpod. If you have thoughts, questions, comments, again, like these guys did that we read today, you can send us emails. Just send those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. If you're looking for a way to support the show, best and easiest way to do that is to leave us a written review or a star rating on any podcast platform you listen to us on. If you do leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, we do read those on the show. If you're looking for another way to support us, and we don't ask that you spend a dime on this show, but if you'd like to, you can go to redbubble.com and search Shop TFR, all one word, and find our logos on all kinds of cool merch there. And our logo was created by Justin Kowalski. Our theme music was composed by Gaurav Venkateswar, and his music can be found at gvtunes.com. Make sure you go to the link in the description of this show. Go check out Organic Priced Books. Use our promo codes and save yourself some money as you support the show. But that's going to do it for this episode of TFR. Thank you guys for being with us for 100 episodes. Here's to many, many more. But until next time, make sure you keep that bat signal lit and pointed skyward. Batman was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane and is the sole property of Warner Brothers Discovery. The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast, is in no way associated with DC Comics, DC Studios, or Warner Brothers Discovery. The thoughts and opinions of the participants of this show are their own and do not reflect the companies that they work for. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.
Why can't I kill you? Too many questions. Too many questions. Poor Edward. I had to save them both. You see, I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Not because I have to be. Now, because I choose to be.